Hello. We're going to do a still life of basic forms with a focus on value this time. We're moving into thinking about value to prepare us for next section. Next section is pretty much all still lifes and value using charcoal. So that'll be fun to be able to use your charcoal. I have to keep reminding people that this is fun. Alright, I'm going to turn on my camera. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay. I am using tape to help me cordon off my area within this camera view. And I also recommend it if you have it, because we're going to be using ink in the background of this one. So I just make it a little easier for you. Tape emergency. It'll make it a little bit easier for you to do the painting with the ink, with your brush, with the tape. If you don't have tape, it's okay. You can just draw a line with your pencil and stay within the lines. This tape, I'm about to throw this tape out the freaking window. No, just kidding. Okay. I wouldn't do that. Let's see. Too cheap to throw tape out the window. Alright. Yeah. Trying to make this straight. There we go. This is your 18 by 24 paper, if you didn't already know that. So we're using your 18 by 24 paper. We're using your 2H pencil to start. I don't know if on your art kit, if in your art kit you have like a graphite stick. Let me look in there. You have a graphite stick. No. You do not. You have a blending stump. You have vine charcoal. Let's use vine charcoal. Okay. We're going to be using charcoal next time. And I'm going to get into how to use charcoal in the next module, but you can grab a piece of vine charcoal and lay down a ground. So you're just going to be tinting your paper basically. So for value studies they use a ground often as the mid-tone, so it's not the highlight or the shadow, it's just the in-between value. So you're just putting down a little bit of gray down here, that's enough. You can use a rag or a paper towel to smudge that. Here's my rag. I know where my rag is. You might need to add more once you do the smudging. There aren't any pure white highlights in the reference that we're using. That's why I don't mind doing this. Other still lifes, you will work on toned paper, and you can use your white charcoal pen. We'll be doing that next module too, using the white charcoal pencil for highlights. Okay, now I have a ground. I'm actually going to use the HB pencil for my sketch because we have the ground down, so I'm going to do HP, it'll be a little easier to see on top of the ground. So there's a horizon line just above the halfway. So here, horizon line. Well, it's close to halfway up the picture plane. In the center is a big ball. The ball is kind of like halfway on the horizon line. It's kind of split, even above and below the horizon. Around, it's close enough to that. So, and then I have a cone. It's a little bit skinnier than that. I'm not taking time to stop and erase. If I change my mind, I just keep drawing. Now that I've figured out where I want it, I can go over the lines a little bit. I don't really need the center point for this one, but I just did it. We're going to be doing center points on the other things. So let's do the cube next, because it's going to help us place the cylinder. So I want the cube to be, I want it to overlap the sphere. I want this a center line here because these 2 points look like they're aligned in the reference. And then this looks like it's about 1/3 of the whole thing. When I stick my fingers up there and measure, so I might have made it too high, too tall, this diamond part. That seems pretty right on right there. Yes. Okay, now I'm just trying to shape the cube to make it look less weird. This side looks fine. Yeah. Okay, I think it's okay. I think it's okay. Okay. Yeah, that looks all right for now. We're going to be doing a lot to it, so it can be a little bit. I'm not quite satisfied with it, but we're going to be continuing to work with it. Okay, now I want to do my cylinder. So I know that the side is just to the right of the back, this back point of the cube. And then the other side is over here. Right, and then the top of it is around here. The cylinder is actually behind the sphere. All right. Okay, let's do a value scale. I'm going to draw the lines, the little sections of my value scale. This is going to be all white. Then this will be light gray, which is basically what the ground is. And then darker gray. So 1, 2, 3. Darker gray, 4. Darker gray, 5. I want to do 7. Darker gray, 6. Darker gray, 7. Okay, so I was just trying to make them evenly spaced, that's all. And I wanted to do that spacing before I did the outside line. So I have 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now I'll make the box. I want it to look nice and neat, in other words. Okay, so 7, if 1 is white, 7's black. The value scale always has the two extremes. So your softest pencil is your 6B. This amount of pressure I'm doing is I'm not really jamming it down there, but I am using a fair amount of pressure. So that's our black. I'm going to put that 6B away. I don't want to go too dark. On accident with this level here. So go ahead and just grab an HB. And you can go over it with a 2B if you need to. So this HB, it's, the different grades of pencil, they're all graphite, but the harder ones have porcelain in them. So this has more porcelain than the 6B HB does. Alright, so now I'm just using pressure to get lighter, less pressure. And then less pressure. So if they're similar, I mean, that's up to the eye of the beholder. That's up to you. But if you be honest with yourself, whether you see a distinct difference between the two. If you don't, that means you need to go darker on the dark side or lighter on the light side. So I need to try to go lighter than 4 over here. And I want 3 to be darker than 2. So I'm trying to go over 3 a little bit more. That seems like it's darker than 2 now, but 4 and 3 are a little bit too similar, so I need to make 4 a little bit darker. Yeah. Now 5 is too similar. Now I'm going darker with 5. Okay, now 5 feels darker, but are 5 and 6 too similar? They're close. I don't know. Let me see if I can take some of this 6B. Go a little bit darker with for this value. Yeah, that feels like it's distinctly different. So they all feel different to me now. So that's a real value scale. Legit. It's legit. There's my legit value scale. So we're going to be paying attention to what values go where and try to identify them. The back is going to be 7. All right, if you don't want to use ink, you can just fill it in with your 6B all the way. But I think just for fun, we're going to use the ink it'll be optional. That's what I'm going to use. And then the other. So then I'll be talking about what value is what as I go. So what I normally do, there's different ways of doing things, of course, but what I normally do, as you've seen so far, is I start light and do everything I can with a lighter value pencil, a harder pencil, and then I work my way up in value. And that's what works for me. Other people will be like, oh, I know this part's going to be really dark, so I'll just go ahead and put that in, and then I can work around it or something. But I'm usually pretty methodical about it. I'll just work my way up in value and keep building on it. Okay, so now we'll get started. So I'm going to use my HB, continue with my HB, and just get in all the values. And we'll be using smudge sticks. So I'm going to be doing HB, 2B, and then 6B. I'm going to avoid smudging. I usually avoid smudging unless I feel it's necessary. So I'm going to avoid it. Unless I feel it's necessary. It just takes up time. That you might not need to spend that time on smudging. It might be you can work it out without the smudging. But we will do it as needed. So I don't think I'm going to speed up this video or anything. I'm just going to leave it running. I've got KXLU, Alma de Barrio in the background. So you can hear a little bit of that in the background. On every weekend they do Alma de Barrio, Latin. Programming. Yeah, I was looking on your what I was looking for on your supply sheet was to see if you had a graphite stick. It's like a big stick of graphite. And you can cover more ground with it. But the closest you had was the on your art in your art kit was the vine charcoal, so we used that. The pencil I'm using is an HB lead within a type of mechanical pencil. It's a type that has full size fat leads, not skinny ones. Scumbling. I find it's nice to use mark making that corresponds with the form, so rounded marks, or in this case circular marks, it'll give it a different kind of texture than using straight lines or even curved lines. The curved lines can be nice too, but and we are smudging, but there is going to be some of this motion will be showing through, and I think it's good to be conscious of the directionality of your lines. But yeah, so I'm just doing scumbling for the sphere. Could do scumbling for all of it if I wanted to, but I don't think I will. I think I'll be doing directional lines for the other forms. This is gonna take a couple hours, I'm estimating. I don't know. I'm looking at the time now. I didn't look at the time before, but usually when I make a video, I just look at how long the video was. But yeah, I think this will take a couple hours. With video, you can stop. You can pause the video if I'm going too fast and you're trying to catch up. I'm like half scumbling, half doing directional. I do want to smudge that because the lines that I drew are really showing up. So in the reference, it doesn't look this dark. I think I'm at 4 with this right now, and I think it should be more like a 3. So I'm going to use this kneaded eraser and bring it down a little bit. And I think the front is about the same. I'm gonna go ahead and smudge it, and then if I need to erase anything, which looks like I do, so yeah, I'll do the erasing after. So where's the light coming from in the reference? There's a shadow going back behind the forms to the right, so the light is over here somewhere on the left. Go ahead and smudge. Since I'm smudging, I'll go ahead and smudge this too. This also looks like my 5, and I want to bring it down. I don't know. This is fine the way it is, but this can go darker. This side needs to go lighter, so I'm going to bring this down to my 3. That's nice. So when you're doing your vertical lines, just make vertical lines. Just straight up and down. These lines need to be parallel with each other. It's a little bit closer together here than here, which is great because there's perspective. This one, it looks like it's closer here than here, which is bad. So I need to either raise this up higher up here or bring this down. I think it'll be easier just to bring this down. Right there. It was going too much to the left. And then this one needs to be parallel with that one. This can be a little bit wider on the bottom. Again, because of perspective, things will tend to get tighter going back in space. So this is fine the way it is. It is kind of dark back here in the background. I mean, the reference, this much of the background behind the cube is not showing, but it's the way it's turning out on mine. I'm gonna leave that like that. I'll go back here with when we move to 2B. I'll fill in more dark value over there. The values for the cylinder are mostly good for what I'm doing with the HB. For the sphere, maybe I'll go over it a little bit more. Yeah, I'm using pretty gentle pressure. I'm not pushing hard. It is pressure, but it's not heavy pressure. And this is going in front of the cone. I forgot. Okay, and the cone. There's a cast shadow from the sphere. There's going to be a question that people ask of why study basic forms, why look at spheres and cylinders, and because these don't exist in real life, but they do exist in real life. Basically, these are abstractions of things that you'll find in real life. So with the basic forms of cylinder, sphere, cone, pyramid, cube, they're meant to help you learn how to do rendering or modeling using light and shadow to make things look three-dimensional. They're meant to help you learn how to use to do rendering or modeling using these as practice, because they make up your basic forms that you'll find in nature or in the world. So this could be the spire of a building. Well, there's a lot of circular things that we need to shade, including like the human skull is part circle, everybody has one. So I mean, it forms with your head. So you're going to be using this knowledge to help you do portraits, cylinders, any kind of pole or a can, or I don't know. There's just so many cylindrical, a tree, so many cylindrical shapes, and cube. I mean, every house and apartment is a cube. So just think of these as abstractions of what's out in the world. Okay, this cast shadow is down here too. I was taking extra effort not to do a push a hard line into there because we don't want to see a line on the edge of the shadow. So I was trying to delineate where the cast shadow is without drawing a hard line. There's the cast shadow. Let's do the cast shadow of the cone. Okay, got that, got that, got that. I got this. Need some more shadow on this side. It's just lighter. And there's a cast shadow from the cube. It's kind of rounded right here. Yeah. Okay. And let me go over this one more time. Okay, let's take a little break. Get your drink of choice and have a snack and use the restroom and whatever. That was the HB, and we'll come back with 2B after this short break. So we're done with HB, moving on to 2B. And same thing with the 2B. I'll try to do everything I can with the 2B before moving on to 6B. Need to go darker on the cube on this side. my first art teacher was my dad. He was an artist, and he would help me with like school projects where the assignment would be something like, oh, you can illustrate your own report cover or something like that. So then I would attempt to do something, and then he would help me with it and explain what he was doing. My mom was a musician, and my interests really were, once I was at the age of trying to figure out, finishing with high school and everything, and trying to figure out what I want to focus on, I was interested in music mostly, making music. I think I stuck with the visual art because it was a way of, because my dad didn't understand my music. So I was trying to connect with him. But I find it's a good way to connect with other people. And what I've noticed as far as connecting with people through my art is that when I would do music shows, or when I do music shows, you're in a different place than the people that just watched you perform. Mentally and maybe physically, but yeah, I'm talking about, I'm not talking about physical. I'm talking about mental. You're in a different place. You just got off stage, and you have all these adrenaline and all this stuff going through you, and having an analytical conversation about what just happened is not going to happen. But what I noticed after many years of performing it on stage and then switching to showing art in galleries, I noticed I'm in the same place as the friend or stranger that I'm talking to, looking at my artwork on the wall, because I have a distance of time from when I made the thing, and I'm just, I'm literally standing in the same place as them, looking objectively at what I made. And then we're having conversations. We can have an objective conversation about what we're looking at together, and they can tell me about what they think, and I don't think they feel like it's as it's like it's a sensitive thing. Like they can tell me whether they don't get something, or not all. I mean, a lot of people might be afraid to do that, but I feel like people will, because there is this separation. I feel like people can talk to you about what they think and what it's bringing to mind, and you can kind of, I feel like I can see what they mean and be able to see it from their point of view. So I like that part of it, as far as connecting with people through your visual artwork. So this cast shadow is a way for me to help define the shape of the sphere, right? Because I'm cutting in around it with my cast shadow, and it's a way of making a strong edge on the sphere. And I know that the value is dark. It's a 7 right next to the sphere, and then it gets lighter down to 6 and 5, moving away from the sphere. And then through teaching, I really love teaching. That, for me, that's a way, even online teaching. I do a lot of online teaching. I still feel like I can have connection with people and feel like I can be helpful. And I think I find that, I've always found that really fulfilling. I mean, I've been doing it for a long time. So yeah, I'm doing as much as I can with the 2B now. I'm trying to avoid, or I'm definitely going to avoid pushing hard. The reason why we gradually go up in value and go softer with the pencil is for that reason. We want to build it up gradually, and I want to avoid pushing hard because I know that I'm going to be working my way to softer and softer pencils. So I don't need to get to that value right away. I don't need to force it. So about the darkest I have is 5 or 6 right now. I don't have anywhere near 7 yet. Even here, it's not there. So I haven't used, the soft pencil yet. I'm going to switch to 6B after this. We have a little bit of a cast shadow from the sphere, like a closer one. There's 2 different ones. So this one's right up around the sphere. And then this one is a bigger one coming off of the sphere, or it's light being blocked by the sphere, making this shape here. And I don't know. Just out of habit, I've just been scumbling. It is kind of a good go-to method. Or circulism, as some people call it. Just making tiny little circles. Okay. Well, I guess I need some over here. But I'm about ready to move to 6B. Now I'm doing more directional shading. Okay. That's my... Oh, I didn't do it down here yet either. I need to go down here. I did do here under the sphere. All right, yeah. And this cast shadow. Let me do this too. Okay, now I can move on, I believe. Yeah. Oh, I guess I didn't do this one either. I keep getting ready to jump ahead. Do this one too. If you don't know it already, if you're shading for a while, you'll notice that you can get a hard edge or a point on one side because you're shading using the other side of the graphite. So when you do want a point, you can rotate the pencil to try to get to that edge. So you might have already noticed that, or you've already been doing that for years, but that is a thing that you can do. Okay, now I'm ready to switch to the 6B. So that's done with 2B. Switching to 6B. Okay, now we're going to do everything we can with the 6B. Just checking the video, it still looks fine. Still on. So we want to have some 7s as far as value goes. We're not going to have any of 1 because we already determined that that's not in the reference. Just making my 1 actually white. And now that my hand has smudged things, the 3 and the 2 and the 4 look really close. Let me grab a paper towel because this is a technique to avoid smudging. You can also just use a blank piece of paper. You don't need a paper towel. So you can put this under your drawing hand so that you're not smudging the rest of your drawing, especially as we get to the softer graphite. So this is so you're not smudging your drawing everywhere. So I do need to adjust. I'm going to grab the HB pencil. I'm going to adjust this again. So I'm going to go lighter with this one a little bit. And then I can go a little bit darker with this one. And a little bit darker with this one. And then a little bit darker with this one. So it seems, yeah, this is going in steps, and but then 6 looks the same as 5. So again, I have to go darker with 6, and I need to use my 6B for that. But not that, yeah, it's going to be really close to 7. That's what I'm afraid of. Let's see if I can get it darker than 5, but not as dark as 7. Yeah, I think that's, it's not quite darker than 5 yet. All right, that looks darker than 5. Maybe one more pass. Okay, now it's darker than 5, and I'll just make 7. Even darker, if I can. Yeah, I think I can make it. Okay, that seems distinguishable, those two, 6 and 7. So fixed up my value scale. And now I'm going to avoid that happening again by putting this paper towel underneath. And then when you're using charcoal, you're going to want this for sure. So if you're not doing it now, you're going to want to do it later. But might as well do it now just to make it a habit, to have something protecting your drawing from your hand and rubbing back and forth on it. For the charcoal, you will want it because you're going to get charcoal all over your hands. So is there anything on my cube that's value 7? Not really. It's mostly in the shadows, the cast shadows, where we have value 7. I think. No, it's all in the cast shadows. I'm getting up to 6 here. Or 5 or 6. Let me go a little bit darker in this corner here. Posture. At times I have to remember to sit up straight. Go a little more value here. So yeah, this value is 7 black right here where I am right now. I think, yeah, to smooth things out, we'll go over all this with the 2H again at the end. Or towards the end, because the last step is the black ink. Okay, and yeah, the cast shadow from the cube. It has a curve to it. Go a little bit darker right here. Just looking at the reference at the values to make sure I'm getting everything. I'm going to switch to the 2H or the HB. Should I do HB or 2H? Maybe I'll do HB. I am going to switch to the HB to finish it off. Okay, ready for HB to finish this off. So this is the last step before we do the ink, and use this time just to look at the reference. If I'm your only reference, that's fine, but if you can also, there's also the original that you can look at, which can be helpful just to see. You'll see more clearly because I'm looking. It's kind of like the telephone game if you're only looking at my reference. So looking at the other reference will be useful. I want a stronger edge down here. A little bit stronger. Put a little bit more value on the floor or the table right there. Just a little. Yeah, so as I'm using the HB, I'm just continuing to look at the reference just to see, to try to match. It's my last chance to try to match the values as best as I can. And see if anything needs a stronger edge, that kind of thing. I'm going to push the value a little bit lighter right there just to make it more, to take it even a little further. And then there's a tiny bit of lighter value on the right side right here. Try to capture that. Use my blending stump to soften the edge of that highlight. The value of the top is actually darker than the value of the side. I'm going a little bit darker than the reference here. The sandpaper that you have in your art kit is for cleaning your blending stuff. I just rubbed mine on some sandpaper. It still looks dirty. It still is dirty. Okay. I think that looks okay. All right, the cone. Scumbling. So yeah, this cast shadow is meeting this one on the tables. Okay, and then we'll go darker with this. Scumbling. I don't remember if I used 6B on this. I'm going to put a little bit. Back to HB. Okay, I think that's good. That's good. A little bit more cast shadow around here. Yeah. A little darker right here. I like that. I think I might bring out the highlight a little bit right here. And there was one over here. There's one down here. And then there's one over here. And got that one. I did one here. Okay, I think that's good. There's kind of a skinny highlight line on the edge of the square. You have a mechanical eraser that's very skinny. This is the equivalent of what I'm using here. This is a wood pencil with eraser inside instead of graphite, but it's equivalent to what you have. Making a highlight right here. Okay, you can kind of see that. All right, let me do that on this edge here. Yeah, and the top of this cone. Okay, ink time. Time for the ink. Okay, you have a number 6 brush. And you have a bottle of the Higgins ink. So yeah, I'm carefully cutting in to get closer to the line. Approaching the edge of the cylinder. Moving down. I'm always wiping off the brush on the edge of the bottle every time I dip. Okay, once you get to this point, you can breathe a sigh of relief that you didn't mess anything up. Unless you did, of course. Right. But always breathe. It's always good to breathe. I have had students say that they're not breathing while they're doing things that require a lot of focus. It's better to breathe. Alright, I'm looking if I see any white spots. I can get rid of those. And that's about it. So then, yeah, my drawing looks nice. I'm happy with it. I am going to Alright, yeah, that's alright. Okay, so happy with my drawing and the inking, and don't forget to rinse out your brush. Don't forget to put the cap on your ink so you don't knock it over and get ink everywhere. And I'm going to pull away my tape carefully. I want to notice which piece is on top of what. Alright, this piece is on top of the other one, so slowly peel away, slowly and carefully. Another cool thing about the ground is that you can see, and the tape, is that you can see the edge from the ground compared to the white of the paper. And you can see how messy it got below my tape. Or you can't see that, it's okay. Here, now you can see it right there. So I smudged it all the way down here. There we go. This is our Forms Still Life with Value Scale. All done.